Have you ever felt your entire world tilt sideways because of one text message? That kind of gut drop moment where your hands go cold, your chest tightens, and you realize life before that second doesn't exist anymore? That was me, 22, madly in love, and about to learn what real heartbreak felt like. When I was 22, I thought I had my life figured out. I had a good job at a local marketing firm, an apartment I shared with my best friend Emma, and a boyfriend who made me believe in the whole forever thing. His name was Dylan, funny, warm, and the kind of guy who remembered my coffee order down to the foam. We'd been together 2 years, and everyone said we were perfect for each other. Even my mom adored him. Mom and I weren't always close, but lately, we'd been rebuilding things. After my parents divorced, she went through a rough phase, dating the wrong guys, moving too fast, but Dylan somehow helped bridge that weird gap between us. He'd drop by family dinners, fix things around her house, and always brought her flowers just because. I thought it was sweet. I thought he was being kind. Then one night, everything cracked. It started with a message, one Emma received by accident. Dylan's best friend, Tyler, had sent her a screenshot. It was supposedly from my mom. The text read, "Last night was amazing. I can't believe how wrong this feels, but how right it was. We need to talk about what to do about her." Her. That her was me. I remember the world slowing down as Emma showed me the screen. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped her phone. "No way," I whispered. "That's not real. It can't be." But then Tyler called. His voice sounded heavy, apologetic. He said he couldn't keep quiet anymore, that Dylan and my mom had been seeing each other behind my back for weeks. He said Dylan was planning to break up with me, but didn't know how. I hung up on him and threw my phone across the room. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't cry either, not yet. I just sat there staring at the dark ceiling, thinking about every hug, every smile, every time Dylan and Mom had laughed together at the dinner table. It all started replaying in my head, every tiny interaction twisting into something filthy. By morning, I wasn't sad anymore. I was furious. Emma, who was half running on rage herself, looked at me over breakfast and said, "We're not letting him walk away from this. You deserve payback." And I agreed. Over the next few days, we plotted. Nothing too crazy, just enough to sting. We decided to hit Dylan where it hurt most, his image. He worked part-time at a gym where his whole personality was tied to being the nice guy. Emma had the perfect plan, expose him publicly, but not directly. We'd set up a fake fitness client account, get him to flirt over text, then leak the messages as proof of his unfaithfulness. While we were building the fake profile, I blocked both Dylan and my mom everywhere. I couldn't bear to hear their excuses. I just wanted to burn it all down. But revenge, I'd soon learn, has a way of lighting fires you can't always control. 2 days later, the fake account was ready, perfectly crafted. Emma handled the first messages, pretending to be an out-of-town client needing a personal trainer. Within hours, Dylan replied. By the next morning, he was flirting. Complimenting her form, asking to meet after work. It was everything we needed. I felt a sick kind of satisfaction watching it unfold. The screenshots were damning enough. We shared them anonymously with a few people from his gym, and like wildfire, the rumor spread. Within 24 hours, Dylan's shiny reputation was in shambles. It should have felt good. It should have been enough. But it wasn't. That same night, my mom showed up at my apartment, crying. She looked wrecked, eyes red, hands trembling. She begged me to listen. I almost slammed the door in her face, but something in her voice made me stop. "Sweetheart, please," she said. "I didn't do anything. Dylan's friend is lying. Tyler's always hated me, he's the one who sent those messages." I wanted to scream. "Mom, stop lying. I saw the texts." She shook her head. "I swear, they're fake. Please, just check your messages. Dylan sent you something." I hesitated, then opened my phone. Dylan had left me a voicemail, his voice cracked, desperate, swearing he never touched her, that Tyler had been manipulating me. He even attached proof, screenshots of his own messages showing Tyler setting him up, trying to expose something that never happened. And then it hit me. Tyler was the only person who ever said he saw them together. The texts, the story, all came from him. My stomach dropped. Emma stared at me as I scrolled through Dylan's evidence, her expression slowly shifting from anger to horror. "Oh my God," she whispered. "We ruined him." I sat there on the couch, numb. My revenge had been for nothing. I'd destroyed a man who never betrayed me, and fractured my relationship with my mom in the process. The worst part? Tyler wasn't even answering his phone anymore. He disappeared like smoke, leaving nothing but chaos behind. That night, I lay in bed, shaking, thinking about everything I'd done. The messages we'd leaked were already all over town. Dylan's job was on the line. And my mom, she'd been humiliated by her own daughter believing a lie. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was guilt, raw and suffocating. And deep down, one thought started to grow: if Tyler wanted to ruin lives for fun, he had no idea what kind of storm he'd just unleashed. Because the next morning, I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I decided if I could ruin Dylan by mistake, I could destroy Tyler on purpose. When the initial rush of shame faded, fury slid into the space it had left. Guilt gnawed at me, sure, but louder than that was a new, hotter feeling: I'd been played. Not by Dylan, not by Mom, but by someone who thought this whole thing was a joke. Tyler. Emma and I sat in my kitchen with takeout boxes between us, phones dead from all the screenshots and calls. Outside the window, the city pulsed through the night, people living real lives while ours had gone sideways. Emma's jaw was tight. "We can't let him get away with this," she said. Her voice was quiet, but it held steel. "He set you up. He broke 3 people for kicks." We started with the obvious: find receipts, timelines, anything that tied Tyler to the lie. Emma is a wizard at online digging. She used to run a small social page for a local band and had skills that looked like cheating if you didn't know what she was doing. I handled the parts that hurt, like calling people who'd forwarded the screenshots and asking them to take them down. I lied when I needed to, said I was going through a mental health thing and wanted privacy. That felt like a small theft, but necessary. We learned a few things quick. Tyler had motive, jealousy, petty grudges, the kind of friend who enjoys drama more than loyalty. He'd always been a little too close to Dylan, the friend who hung on and made himself essential. He'd been bitter when Dylan started dating me. But motive alone isn't proof. So we set a trap. It was simple and small and felt childish when Emma explained it, but it worked. We built an anonymous account, different from the fake client one we'd used earlier, and made it look like a girl from out of town with a crush on Tyler. Emma wrote long, casual messages that invited Tyler to talk, to confess, to brag. Tyler bit. He always bit when he thought he had power. He started boasting. Little messages that hinted at how he outed people to test loyalty, how he thought some people needed to be taken down a peg. In his careless cockiness, he mentioned the texts, how he'd doctored them, which apps he'd used, the exact timestamp he'd edited. It was ugly, triumphant talk. We recorded everything. Screenshots, timestamps, the IP traces Emma could pull up from public posts, enough breadcrumbs to find a trail. The more he bragged, the angrier I felt. Not because I wanted revenge, well, partly that, but because I wanted to fix what we'd broken. Dylan's reputation was on the ground, and Mom had been humiliated. Armed with Tyler's messages, we didn't go public yet. Instead, I did something I'd been avoiding: I called Dylan. My hands trembled as I dialed. When he answered, I poured out the truth: the fake account, our revenge, how sorry I was. He was quiet for a long minute, then he said, "I can't breathe right now." It was the most honest thing he'd ever said to me. He agreed to meet Emma and me the next day. We would go through what we'd found together. No theatrics. Just evidence, apologies, and a plan to fix the mess. That night, I didn't sleep. My chest felt raw, like I'd run a marathon and forgotten how to stop. I kept thinking about how fast we'd jumped to conclusions, how comfortable revenge had felt, and how little we'd thought about the fallout. But there was one thing I knew for sure: Tyler had started this fire. Whether by accident or malice, he'd thrown matches into 3 lives. And he was about to learn that matches can burn the hands that strike them. The next morning, we'd meet Dylan in a cafe with our small, shaky stack of proof. We planned to confront Tyler together, but what we didn't know was that Tyler had already been cornered in his own way, and someone else was watching everything he did. If there's one sound that'll forever twist my stomach, it's the hiss of the espresso machine in that cafe. That morning, it hissed and steamed while my heart raced loud enough to drown it out. Emma sat beside me, her laptop open, our printed screenshots in a small folder between 2 cups of coffee. Dylan was late, which made sense. I'd broken his heart, wrecked his job, and basically nuked his trust in humanity. If I were him, I wouldn't have shown up at all. But he did. When he walked in, I saw right away how much the past week had aged him. His eyes looked bruised, his jaw unshaven, that easy confidence replaced with something heavy. He didn't even sit down right away. Just stood there, hands in his jacket pockets, scanning the folder on the table like it was a live grenade. "I'm only here because your mom told me to listen," he said. His voice wasn't cold, it was worse than that. It was tired. "I deserve that," I said quietly. "You deserve the truth." Emma took over then. She was calm, deliberate, showing him each screenshot we'd gathered of Tyler's messages. The fake accounts, the timestamps, the bragging about exposing cheaters. We showed how the text from my mom had been lifted from a Facebook post she'd made years ago and edited to sound scandalous. Every time Emma flipped a page, Dylan's expression shifted, first disbelief, then something closer to hurt, then anger. But not at us. Not anymore. When she finished, he sat back, rubbing his face with both hands. "He made all of this up," he said, half to himself. "He made me into a villain in your eyes, and I let it happen because I didn't even know it started." I nodded. My throat hurt so bad I could barely whisper. "I didn't give you a chance. I just reacted." He didn't say anything for a moment. Then he looked right at me and asked the question that had been hovering between us since the beginning. "Why did you believe it?" I swallowed hard. "Because it made sense in the worst way. Because you were close with my mom. Because when you love someone, you start collecting fears as much as memories. Tyler used that." Dylan sighed, leaning back in his chair. "He's always been jealous of me. He said I was soft. That I'd lost my edge. Guess he found a way to prove it." The 3 of us sat in silence for a while, the weight of everything pressing down. Then Emma said what we were all thinking: we need to confront him. Together. Before he spins something else. Dylan's lips tightened into a grim smile. "I already texted him this morning. Told him to meet me at his place tonight. Said I needed to clear the air. He won't resist the chance to gloat." So that was the plan: meet Tyler at his apartment, corner him, record everything. Simple. Too simple, maybe. The hours between that conversation and the confrontation felt endless. I went home, sat on my bed, and thought about the version of me from a week ago, the girl who thought revenge would fix betrayal. I didn't recognize her anymore. When evening came, Emma picked me up. Dylan met us outside Tyler's apartment building. He looked steadier now, like anger had replaced the sadness. Tyler lived on the 2nd floor of an old brick complex with peeling paint and windows that always smelled faintly like weed and wet carpet. When he opened the door, he looked surprised, but not guilty. More like someone who'd just been caught mid-smirk. "Wow," he said, eyes flicking between us. "The whole gang's here. What, you planning an intervention?" Dylan didn't waste time. "Cut the act, Ty. We know what you did." Tyler laughed, an ugly, dry sound. What, you mean the little rumor? Come on, man. Everyone lies sometimes. Emma lifted her phone. We have the screenshots. The messages you sent bragging about editing texts and setting people up. You're done. For the first time, I saw something flicker across his face, panic. Brief, but real. Then he masked it with that same condescending smirk. You think anyone's going to believe you? I could say you faked this too. That you're trying to cover your own mess. Except we already told people the truth, I said. And Dylan recorded this conversation. His smirk faltered. He looked at Dylan. You wouldn't. I already am, Dylan said calmly. For a second, the room went still. Then Tyler's temper broke. You think you're some kind of hero now? You were nothing before I introduced you to her. You think she'd even look at you if it weren't for me? His words spiraled, bitter and desperate. You all need me. You just don't want to admit it. It was pathetic. Watching him unravel in real time, spitting out jealousy that had been festering for years. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. When we left that apartment, the air felt lighter. We had proof, recordings, witnesses, everything. Dylan planned to send the evidence to his boss, clearing his name. Emma would post a full correction on social media, owning up to what we'd done. It wouldn't erase the damage, but it was a start. As we stood in the parking lot, Dylan turned to me. I don't know if I can forgive everything right away, he said. But I don't hate you. That's a start too. I nodded. I'll earn the rest. He gave a small smile and left. Emma squeezed my shoulder before getting in her car. For the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe. But somewhere deep down, I knew Tyler wouldn't let this end quietly. Guys like him never do. And I was right. Because later that night, I got a message from an unknown number. No words, just a single photo. It was of me, sitting in the cafe that morning. Taken through the window. I stared at that photo for a long time, the unease crawling up my spine. If Tyler wasn't the one who sent it, then someone else was watching us. Someone who'd been in the background all along. When I first saw that photo, I thought my stomach might just drop clean through the floor. It wasn't blurry, or from far away, it was perfectly framed, taken right through the cafe window that morning. You could see the sunlight reflecting off the spoon in my coffee cup, Emma's laptop open beside me, and Dylan's profile as he leaned forward, mid-sentence. Whoever took it had been close. Watching. I didn't tell Emma right away. I just sat there staring at my phone, the room dark except for that little glowing screen. The only message under the photo was a short sentence. You think you're done? Think again. My first thought was Tyler. Who else would do this? He'd been exposed, humiliated, recorded, and he was furious. It made sense. Maybe this was his way of warning me that it wasn't over. But the more I thought about it, the less it made sense. The picture wasn't angry or chaotic. It was careful. Deliberate. And Tyler wasn't careful about anything. The next morning, I showed Emma. She frowned, rubbing sleep from her eyes. That's creepy as hell, she said. Could be him or maybe one of his friends. He still has that little crew of idiots from high school, right? Maybe, I said, though my gut whispered no. Emma sent the photo to Dylan too, who responded within minutes. I'll handle it. Don't do anything rash. Handle it? Emma muttered. What does that even mean? I didn't know, but I trusted him enough now not to push. After what I'd done, the least I could do was give him that. Later that day, Dylan called. His voice was calmer than I expected. I talked to my boss, he said. Showed him everything, the proof, the recordings. He believed me. I'm suspended for a week while they review it, but he said my job's safe. Relief hit me so hard I had to sit down. That's amazing, Dylan. He paused. I also reached out to your mom. She's worried about you. That was the part I'd been avoiding. My mom and I hadn't spoken properly since I accused her of betraying me. She'd tried calling, texting, even showing up at my door, but I hadn't answered. I didn't know how to face her. Tell her I'll call, I said, even though I wasn't sure if I could. When I finally did, that night, I expected anger. Instead, she sounded exhausted. Sweetheart, she said softly, I don't care about the apology. I just care that you're okay. And just like that, I cried. Ugly, shaking, messy tears that I didn't even know I'd been holding in. Mom cried too. She told me she'd known Dylan was innocent the whole time but didn't want to force me to choose. That she'd almost started believing maybe she had done something wrong, the way I looked at her that day. By the end of the call, we were both drained, but lighter somehow. We made plans for dinner that weekend. A clean slate. For a few days, life almost felt normal again. Dylan and I weren't officially back together, but we texted, talked, even laughed a little. Emma went back to work. I stopped refreshing my notifications every 5 minutes. Then the second photo came. This time, it wasn't the cafe. It was my apartment building, me stepping out with Emma, laughing. The caption under it read, "Still smiling." That's when I went straight to Dylan's place. He opened the door, saw my face, and didn't ask questions. Just pulled me inside. Another photo? He guessed. I nodded and showed him. He frowned, studying it. This angle's from across the street, he said. Could have been anyone walking by. But they're sending it to me, I said. Whoever this is, they're following us. He went quiet, scrolling back through his phone, then finally looked up. Tyler's gone, he said. Quit his job, deleted everything. His phone's off. That stopped me cold. Gone? Like disappeared? Yeah. His landlord said he moved out yesterday. No forwarding address. A chill slid through me. For the first time, I realized this was bigger than Tyler's lies. Someone else was keeping tabs on us. Maybe one of his online friends. Maybe someone who just liked chaos. The next few days blurred together in anxiety. Every time I left the apartment, I felt eyes on me. Every car parked too long near my building made my heart race. Emma joked that I was becoming a true crime podcast, but even she looked nervous. Then, out of nowhere, the messages stopped. No photos. No threats. Just silence. It was almost worse. By the weekend, I decided to stop hiding. I kept my dinner plans with Mom. She made lasagna, like she always did when she wanted to fix something with food. Dylan came too. It felt awkward at first, 3 people sitting at a table trying to pretend they hadn't almost destroyed each other, but as the night went on, the tension melted. At one point, Mom reached over and took my hand. Sweetheart, she said, smiling gently, sometimes people like Tyler don't even want love or friendship. They just want control. The best revenge is living like they never had any. For the first time, I believed her. After dinner, Dylan walked me to my car. The night air was cold and clear, the street quiet except for crickets. I looked up at him and said, "Do you think we can ever really go back?" He hesitated, then said, "I don't want to go back. I want to move forward." I smiled at that. For the first time in weeks, it wasn't forced. But as I turned to unlock my car, something on the windshield caught my eye. A folded piece of paper, held down by the wiper blade. I unfolded it slowly. It was a printout of that same first cafe photo, but this time, someone had drawn a red X through my face. That was the night I stopped waiting for the next message and decided to find whoever was sending them. Because this wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about safety, and the truth hiding behind the lie that started it all. When I first saw that red X across my face, something inside me snapped. Fear had ruled me long enough. Whoever was doing this wasn't going to stop until I made them stop. I called Dylan right away. He was still driving home from my mom's house and turned around without a second thought. When he arrived, I was standing outside with the paper in my hand, my stomach twisting but my voice steady. "It was under my wiper," I said. "They want me scared." He studied it under the porch light, his jaw tightening. "Then let's make them scared instead." That was the moment I decided I wasn't going to be the victim anymore. The next day, Emma came over and turned my apartment into what she called a digital war room. Laptop open, notes spread out across the coffee table, every bit of information we'd gathered about Tyler, his friends, and the strange messages. I watched her fingers fly across the keyboard like she was playing a piano, tracing accounts, cross-referencing usernames, and filtering old posts through a tracking program she'd used when she managed that band page years ago. It took hours. Coffee after coffee, eyes burning from the blue light. Then she found something. An IP address that had sent one of the early fake screenshots matched the same network as the latest anonymous message. Not from Tyler's old apartment, but from a co-working space downtown. Emma sat back, grinning like a detective solving a murder. "Whoever's behind this is using public Wi-Fi to stay hidden." But they slipped once. They connected through a personal device for a few minutes. She clicked again, and a name popped up on the screen. Tyler's ex-girlfriend, Vanessa. At first, I didn't believe it. Vanessa? The girl Tyler dated for barely a month last year? But the more we looked, the clearer it became. The anonymous account that had sent the messages used her same writing patterns, same weird grammar quirks. "She's the one who started this," Emma said. "Tyler might have bragged or planned something stupid, but she's the one who spread it. Probably the one sending you those pictures too." My head spun. "But why?" Emma shrugged. "Maybe she wanted revenge on Tyler and decided to make you the collateral. Maybe she thought she was doing some twisted justice." I didn't even know what I felt at that point: anger, disbelief, exhaustion. All I knew was that I needed it to stop. Dylan agreed. He called one of his friends who worked part-time in IT at the gym and got a copy of the security footage from that co-working space. The timestamp matched the messages Emma traced. And there she was, Vanessa, sitting with her laptop, sending them. It was over. We had proof. The next step wasn't about payback anymore, it was about closure. Dylan wanted to report her to the police for harassment. I wasn't sure. Part of me just wanted to look her in the eye and ask why. So, we tracked down where she worked, an indie clothing shop downtown, and I walked in one afternoon with Emma waiting outside. Vanessa looked up from behind the counter, eyes widening when she saw me. "Oh," she said, fake smiling. "Hey. Don't hey me," I said. My voice shook, but I kept my ground. "You've been following me. Sending photos. Why?" She froze. The color drained from her face. I don't know what you're talking about." I set my phone down on the counter, screen lit with the cafe photo, the IP logs, the security footage still frame. Her lips parted slightly. "You did this," I said quietly. "You made me think my boyfriend cheated on me with my mom. You made me ruin him, ruin myself. What did you want?" Vanessa's mask cracked then, no smirk, no lies. Just anger. "He ruined me," she said, voice shaking. "Tyler. He used me, lied to me, bragged about manipulating people for fun. I wanted to make him hurt. And you were the perfect way to do it." He still cared what Dylan thought. He still wanted control. So I gave him a mess he couldn't clean up. It hit me like cold water. She hadn't even been targeting me directly, I was just collateral in her war against him. "You could have destroyed 3 lives," I said. Her eyes filled with tears, but they weren't the kind that asked for forgiveness. "He destroyed mine first." I turned and walked out without another word. Some things didn't deserve closure. By the time I got home, Dylan had already gone to the police. They took statements, gathered the evidence, and promised to follow up. It wasn't the Hollywood ending where justice slams down fast, but it was something. Vanessa was charged with harassment and falsifying digital communications a few weeks later. Tyler, when questioned, admitted to knowing about the plan and keeping quiet, which got him banned from several workplaces in town. Poetic, in a quiet way. As for me? I didn't feel triumphant. Just free. Emma and I sat on my balcony that night, watching the city lights flicker. She handed me a beer and said, "You know, this could have been worse. You could have let it eat you alive." I smiled faintly. Maybe it still will. But at least I'm choosing what I let in now. Later, Dylan came by. We stood on the balcony, looking out over the skyline. He slid his hand into mine, not like before, not possessive or desperate. Just warm, steady. "We're okay," he said. I nodded. "Yeah. We are." But when I went inside to throw away the beer bottles, something on my phone caught my eye. A new message. No photo this time, just 3 words. "You missed one." That message was the last spark before the fire. Because when we traced it back, we realized the final lie didn't come from Tyler or Vanessa. It came from someone even closer. And the ending would burn cleaner and colder than I ever expected. The words "you missed one" burned on my screen. No image this time, no hidden link, just those 3 words sitting there like a smirk I couldn't see. For a full minute, I didn't move. The room was quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Emma leaned over my shoulder. "That's not from Vanessa, right?" I shook my head slowly. "No. The number's new. Dylan was at my place within 10 minutes. By then, Emma had already started tracing the number. Her fingers tapped fast, the way they always did when she was nervous. Whoever this is, they're using a VPN. But it's not perfect, it's bouncing through local cell towers first. That means whoever it is, they're close. Close. The word chilled me. We tried calling the number. It went straight to voicemail. Dylan took my phone gently, setting it on the table. "We'll figure this out," he said. But deep down, I already had a feeling. Not a guess, not a theory, just that cold gut certainty that never lies. That night, I barely slept. I kept thinking about everyone involved: Tyler, Vanessa, my mom, Dylan, Emma. Who would want to keep it going now? Who'd benefit from stirring things up again? And then, around 2 a.m., something hit me. The co-working space, Vanessa had only gone there a few times, but she'd told someone about what she was doing. Someone who helped her get access to fake accounts and spoofing apps. That someone was Emma. My heart stopped. I didn't want to believe it. Emma, my best friend, the one who held me while I cried, who plotted the revenge, who found all the proof, who seemed too good at tracing messages and creating fake accounts. She had all my passwords, access to everything, because I'd trusted her completely. I sat there, shaking, my stomach tight. The memories started rewinding, her pushing me to go after Dylan fast, her excitement when things escalated, her insistence that she handle the tech side of our plans. Every time something new appeared, Emma had been the one who found it first. I picked up my phone and texted Dylan. "I think it's Emma." He didn't answer right away. Maybe he didn't want to believe it either. At 7 a.m., I drove to her place. She opened the door in sweatpants, hair messy, eyes wide. "Hey," she said carefully. "You okay?" I just held up my phone. "Why'd you send it?" Her face didn't even flicker at first. She stared at the screen, then laughed quietly. "You finally figured it out, huh?" The sound of that laugh hit me like a punch. "Why?" I whispered. "You're my best friend." Emma sighed, leaning against the doorframe. "You really don't get it. You stopped being my best friend the moment you met Dylan. Remember how many nights I spent listening to you talk about him? How you ditched me for him, then came running back crying when he broke you. You used me, And then you replaced me. My chest tightened. Emma, that's not true. Oh, it's true. Her voice cracked into a sneer. You needed me to build your revenge, to feel powerful again. And you loved it. Don't act like you didn't. You liked hurting him. I just kept it going. She looked almost proud. I stepped back, tears burning in my eyes. You ruined everything. You made me destroy people who didn't deserve it. No, she said calmly. I just showed you what you really are when someone hurts you. For a second, I didn't know whether to scream or collapse. Then Dylan's car pulled up behind mine. He got out, eyes hard. You sent the last message? He asked. Emma shrugged. Call it closure. He didn't say another word. Just took out his phone, pressed record, and filmed her as she ranted, every twisted justification, every confession. She realized too late. Delete that, she hissed. Not a chance, he said. She slammed the door in our faces, but it was over. The next few days were a blur. Dylan sent the recording to the police, attaching it to Vanessa's case. Emma wasn't charged, she hadn't made direct threats, but she lost her job after her boss found out she'd been using company resources to run fake accounts. She moved out of town quietly. As for me, I broke my lease, left the apartment, and spent a few weeks staying with my mom. Healing, I guess. Or trying to. Dylan came by often, not to rekindle what we'd had, but to just be there. We talked a lot. About forgiveness, about how lies spread like rot, about how good intentions don't erase the harm they cause. One evening, sitting on Mom's porch, Dylan said, "You know what the strangest part of all this is? None of them got what they wanted." I nodded slowly. Tyler wanted control. Vanessa wanted revenge. Emma wanted attention. And all they got was emptiness. He smiled faintly. And what do you want now? I looked out at the quiet street, the sunset spilling over the rooftops. Peace. Just peace. He reached over and squeezed my hand. For the first time in months, the world felt still again. A few weeks later, I got one final message. No threats, no insults, just a simple email from an unknown address. It said, "Forgiveness isn't weakness. Don't let them make you cold." There was no signature. No trace of who sent it. Maybe it was Dylan. Maybe Mom. Maybe even Emma, trying to rewrite the ending. I didn't reply. I just smiled, closed my laptop, and stepped outside. The air smelled like rain, clean and new. The storm was finally over. It's strange, the quiet that comes after chaos. For months, every sound had felt like an alarm, the buzz of my phone, a car engine outside, even laughter from the hallway. Every noise made my chest tighten because I kept expecting the next disaster. The next message. The next betrayal. But silence feels heavier when you've lived inside noise for too long. After Emma left town, I didn't celebrate. There was nothing to celebrate. I just stood in the empty apartment she'd helped decorate, the one where we laughed, plotted, cried, and realized that for the first time in my adult life, I didn't know who I could trust, not even myself. I packed up my things slowly. Every photo, every memory, every little piece of the girl I was before all of this. It took 3 days. I didn't throw away the picture of me and Emma from college, though. I kept it in a box labeled before. When I moved back in with my mom, it felt like time had rewound itself. The smell of her cooking, the old floral couch, even the creak in the stairs, all reminders of a simpler time before love, revenge, and digital warfare ruined the way I saw people. For weeks, I didn't touch social media. Didn't open old messages. I went on long walks, read books I'd forgotten I owned, cooked dinner with Mom every night. I could almost feel my pulse slow down again. Then one night, Dylan stopped by. He brought Thai food, the same takeout we used to eat in my apartment before everything fell apart. We sat on the porch steps, eating straight from the cartons like nothing had changed. But everything had. "I've been thinking," he said, setting down his chopsticks, "about how it all started. How easy it was for someone to twist the truth and make us believe it." I nodded, staring at the stars. "People believe what they're afraid of," I said. "And I was afraid of losing you. Afraid my mom would hurt me again. Tyler, Vanessa, Emma, they just fed the fears I already had." He was quiet for a while. Then he said, "I don't know if we can ever go back to who we were." I looked at him and smiled, not sad, just honest. "Maybe we're not supposed to." There wasn't a big romantic reunion. No dramatic kiss. Just two people sitting side by side, finally understanding that love isn't about pretending you'll never hurt each other, it's about choosing not to believe the lies that try to break you. Weeks turned into months. Vanessa took a plea deal for harassment. Tyler moved out of state, apparently working under a different name now. Emma sent one last message before disappearing completely. It wasn't an apology, just a single sentence. "I hope one day you realize I wasn't all wrong." I didn't reply. I didn't hate her anymore, either. I just felt done. Mom and I grew closer than we'd been in years. She forgave me long before I forgave myself, but she never threw it in my face. She just let me heal at my own pace, reminding me, the truth always finds a way to breathe, even when people bury it. She was right. One morning, about a year later, I woke up to an old notification on my phone, a memory from the day Dylan and I first met. We looked so young, so sure of everything. I didn't delete it. I just smiled and saved it again, not because I wanted to go back, but because I wanted to remember the girl who believed love was simple. She deserved to be remembered too. That day, I met Dylan for coffee, the same cafe where the first photo had been taken. The espresso machine still hissed, the same barista still smiled when she saw us. But this time, there were no shadows behind the glass, no red X's, no lies waiting to ambush us. Just peace. We talked like old friends. About work, travel, our parents, random things that didn't matter but somehow meant everything. And when we stood to leave, Dylan looked at me and said softly, "You know, I'm glad it happened." I raised an eyebrow. "Glad we got lied to and stalked and nearly lost our minds?" He chuckled. "Glad we learned who we are when everything falls apart." I smiled. "Yeah. Me too." That night, I wrote something in my journal, something I hadn't been able to say out loud until then. Revenge felt powerful, but it didn't give me peace. Forgiveness felt weak, but it set me free. And truth hurt more than anything, but it was the only thing that lasted. I closed the journal and finally, felt like I could breathe again. The ghosts were gone. The noise had faded. And in the quiet that followed, I found myself again. What was your favorite moment? Drop it in the comments below. Don't miss more thrilling stories like this. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.